Welcome, everyone, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is the ultimate pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans, and this is episode 118. The PW Fan is a journey over the hearts and minds of professional wrestling fans, and we appreciate you joining us on this journey. I am your host, collector, barber, musician, and most importantly, a professional wrestling podcaster, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert, and now I'm going to pass it over to the other host.
And I'm your host, the architect of Pro Wrestling Podcast, Booker Andy.
I'm also your host, the No Silent Wrestling Indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
Well, as always, we will be reviewing the haps in the world of pro wrestling, and today we will be discussing the Elimination Chamber qualifiers, new AEW Tag Champions, WrestleMania's kickoff event, and more. Of course, please stick around to the end. We'll be talking about a classic show of the week. If you could guess, it's probably going to be a WrestleMania, another good one, just because we're on the road. We are on the road. Before we get started on this week's episode, we kindly ask you to go to youtube.com/@thepwfanpod. If you could please subscribe, that would really help us out a lot. If not, maybe go watch a video and like it, comment. All that stuff really helps us out. For all other social media, you just want to search at the PW Fan, where we'll pop up, where you can follow along. We are mostly active on Instagram, just to like throw that out there. So if you want to add us on, Andy's pretty active on TikTok as well. So Instagram and TikTok at the PW Fan.
Man, but TikTok will not let me have a lot of views. I'm getting really
Gotta beat the algorithm.
It was like one.
They were like, hey, fuck you.
And nothing was me from my regular profile.
Yeah. So we appreciate the listeners. Thank you for following us on all those social media platforms. And last but not least, ProWrestlingTees.com/thepwfan for shirts. We're going to get some new ones this year. These designs cost money. And if you stuck with us about 3 episodes ago, I'm about I'm down about 13,000 at this point. All right, so the new designs, it's coming. We'll get there. It'll happen when it happens.
Gotta make up the 13K.
I got to make sure
so that we can get money for the new designs.
You got to make sure that Talk Wrestling Tim Gilbert doesn't go to federal prison. All right, Andy, we're going to pass it over to you and let you get started on this week's episode, buddy.
Kind of a big week this week with wrestling, especially last Thursday, I'd have to say. WWE-wise, that is. But let's get into Raw from this past week. With Seth Rollins coming out, he wanted an answer from Cody Rhodes to see, where Cody was headed. At this point, we still didn't know. The Rock had come back the Friday before, I believe, and all the sad Cody tweets and we want Cody hashtag had started. So at this point, that's where we were at. And so Seth Rollins called out Cody. Before Cody could even give him an answer, Drew McIntyre would come out and he would try to convince Cody to finish his story, and also trying to get Seth Rollins to defend his title against himself. Eventually, Drew would attack Seth, I believe, and then Cody and Drew would start brawling, and Drew would end up on the outside of the ring. But Drew's been shaking things up, not just on television, but online, and he had some words this past Friday for Triple H even, so a strong opening segment, but it kind of doesn't matter anymore after how this week transpired, but we'll get to that later. Anything to add, guys?
Before we do get to that, I just want to say to the people listening at home, if you notice that Andy's sounding a little different today, it's because we've had an equipment
I apologize for last week.
So we heard the people. And you guys said, hey, this episode sucks. What the hell's going on? So Andy got a new microphone.
Matching Jeremy. Me and Jeremy have the same mic now.
Yeah, so we're doing the best we can.
Uh,
Me being the pro that I am, I always sound amazing when I'm behind a microphone. I know that
Tim
everybody
being
knows.
13K in the hole, and
Me being 13K in the hole, I'm not upgrading right now. But
Yeah, makes sense.
I hope that this helped. Andy, thank you for your dedication to the show and doing a little bit of an adjustment to make sure that the people listening have a better audio experience.
I made the experience not just better for them, but for me as well. I got myself a table. I had my laptop all this time sitting on my hamper, but no one knew that until I admitted
Yeah, that's
it.
right. The hamper setup with the holding the mic. You were a legend for that.
Yeah,
That's some like underground DIY hardcore shit. You're like, dude, I have
my friend.
I have my laptop on my hamper.
My friend Corey told me to get a mic that doesn't look like I'm cutting a promo. Speaking of, Tim just said DIY.
I know.
A title shot at a #1 contenders match. Yeah, how do you like that transition right there?
You go. That's professional, Hoss. That is professional.
The elimination qualifiers began this week. Starting with the women's elimination chamber, Becky Lynch would defeat Shayna Baszler, so we're one step closer to getting Becky versus Rhea, which hasn't been announced yet. But let's be honest, that's what's going to happen. That's what the fans want. Give me what I want.
Give me what
Batista would say.
You know what I want. Give it to me.
Rhea Ripley. Did he forget his lines?
Yeah, he
that's why he just kept
what he was
repeating.
supposed to say, so he just kept saying, "You know what I want. Give it to me."
Dude. He's like trying to
like,
steer
just like,
in
all
the
right,
right
so
direction.
I guess I'm just gonna have to go off this.
Speaking of Rhea, again, nice transition.
You
she
would
would eventually come out.
You would you got
She
it.
would come
Sorry.
spitting all over the place here. The Rock comes out smelling, but Batista comes out spitting.
Smelling.
Rhea Ripley would come out, and she wanted to attack Nia Jax after being attacked by herself the week before. But Adam Pearce would come out beforehand and revealed that at Elimination Chamber in Rhea Ripley's home country of Australia, she will be defending her championship against Nia Jax, which I think one of us, I may say, predicted.
Was that Tim?
Is it ever Tim? Come on, Booker Andy. I'm Booker Andy for a reason.
Booker.
But Nia Jax will end up coming out after this, and a brawl would ensue, of course, because things like this can never go smoothly. The week before, we thought at least, that R-Truth was taken out of Judgment Day and beaten up, and he showed up in a Judgment Day backstage segment, so he understands, it was his initiation beaten.
That's hilarious.
Sorry, guys. That was my alarm.
Andy, take your pills, Andy. Take your old man pills.
Took my meds before we started. Took my meds before we started.
He's got to take his old man. We always have to remember Andy is 45, 55, somewhere between there.
Right, yeah.
So he has
my
to take.
Birthday's in 9 days. Calm down, Tim. I'm not 45.
He's turning 62. He has
60,
to take
45 to 62.
He has to take his old man pills.
If I'm 62, you're 65. So
no, there's that. That's a throwback to something to wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, where Bruce would always do the same thing. He would forget to turn his alarm off, and it would go off, and Conrad would yell, "Bruce, take your pills."
Where was I? R-Truth, that's right. So he's kind of like, I think Damian Priest this week said he's the mascot of Judgment Day. Not really, but it's turning in that way.
Cody coming out right now.
Around, so, I'll get to it. We'll talk more about it later, but as we're on R-Truth, I bring it up. So, at the kickoff event where the blood or the family tree was being shown on the screen, someone edited it to at the bottom, just like the Judgment Day shorts, and stuck tables says "and R-Truth."
Yeah, I saw that.
The Bloodline family tree.
Dude, Cody,
That's
I'm
too
just
funny.
as a quick interruption. I'm watching Cody. We'll talk about this next week, but I'm watching Cody come to the ring right now. He's signing action figures. He's signing this dude. He's got it. He knows what he's doing.
He's the next
crushing
Cena, man. He's the next Cena.
crushing.
I was
it
just
right
watching
now.
that too. Was that his AEW figure or was that
It was
WWE one?
defining moments where he had the torn pec.
Oh, okay. The box looked
figure.
like an AEW one. I was like, I thought it'd be funny if like someone's like, "Can you
I
sign
have a
this?"
bunch. It's the 8 defining moments collection. But
That's
yeah,
Speaking of figs, I was in Target today. I know Tim's a fig collector. There was, I guess they released some figs for WrestleMania 40 coming up. So they had The Rock with his Rock Championship from years ago against Cena. There's a Pat McAfee fig now, and there's a John Cena fig with the green shirt.
I will send you guys the picture off air. Who knows? Maybe Jeremy can edit it in. I don't know if we have that capability, but I did.
T Swift.
Yeah, no. I just got I got an MJF figure to add to the modern day guy shelf, and he just perfectly sinks right in there. He's got the Burberry scarf. He's looking great. He's taking pictures. He's taking pictures of Alicia Atout on just like every vacation that they've ever been on.
We also bought another figure recently.
I'm trying to think. Oh, the Punk throwback
Punk of his ROH time.
Yes. So AEW before
the shorts.
Yeah, before he got fired, AEW released the throwback Ring of Honor Punk because Tony Khan bought the catalog. He has the rights to all this stuff. So this is like a sick throwback fig.
That's really cool though.
The face scan is actually really good on it. Sometimes with the AEW figures, they can be a little bit but this one's a good one.
Last thing I'll say about R-Truth is that Tim says he is immortal. By the way,
dude, he looks the same for
like
30 years, literally.
He does, yeah, that's true. Even when he was in TNA, he still looked the same, basically.
Yeah, he used to, and then he was in. If you go back and watch like the 98 or 99 Royal Rumble, he's in there too. But his name back then was K Quick. Dude, it's crazy. And he looks the same.
Wow. Well, you know what else is crazy? Gunther had his 600-day Intercontinental reign celebration. And he was basically saying that he has, taken anyone out, and no man can beat them. And out came Jey Uso. And it looks like, what do you think? Do you think we have an Elimination Chamber match, or do you think we have a WrestleMania match?
I think WrestleMania.
So no Jimmy versus Jay then?
Well, I mean, now that you say that, I don't know.
The only way to book it is if Jimmy costs Jay the Intercontinental Championship. But nothing has been booked official.
Yeah, they only have another week until an Elimination Chamber, after this week.
Yeah, so I think we're going to get, whether we're going to find out tonight whether Gunther is facing Jay at Elimination Chamber, and if they don't book it, then he's probably going to face him at WrestleMania 40. But if they do book it, I say Jay loses, and due to Jimmy interference, then we get Jimmy versus Jay at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
All right.
I think so.
Got tongue-tied. Lots going on. Main event. Cody Rhodes defeating Shinsuke Nakamura in a bull rope match using the exact same bull rope that Cody Rhodes' father used and brought with him throughout the territory days.
I actually, you know what? That was a cool fact for me because I didn't know that, and when I saw that fact, I was like, "That's cool." To me, that type of shit is cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. Afterwards, Drew McIntyre would come out though and beat up Cody. Shinsuke then right enough there, but they showed a clip tonight. Then Shinsuke would help Drew continue to beat up Cody. Then Sami Zayn would run out to assist in saving Cody. And
Listen, Sammy and Shinsuke.
I mean, look, their match in NXT was fucking phenomenal. If they can, I mean, it'd be hard to beat for them to replicate that, though. But
I was gonna say that was 8 years ago.
Yeah,
and it was a lot. It was a lot of anticipation too. So like the crowd was already really into it when Shinsuke debuted.
And back then, those NXT fans were like hardcore wrestling fans that knew, like,
I'm just saying, and I'm not an athlete by any means, but I'm just thinking of the way I probably could have moved around on stage 8 years ago compared to how I move around on stage now, and it's a big difference. Andy probably can feel that when he jumped on my trampoline the other day. There's something
I feel when I skate.
Something happens.
Something
you
happens.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I hurt my hip, and it's finally healing now. It's been like a month.
Oh my god, that's
it takes
crazy.
forever now.
Once you hit 30,
I'm like an old man walking around.
Yeah, once you hit 30, your body's like, okay, you're done.
You start having to add stretching to your daily routine.
Dude, if you stretch,
I love doing yoga now.
If you don't stretch, you're fucked. I tell you what,
you gotta do some.
DDP is onto something.
Yeah, DDP yoga. It actually does really help.
Did y'all know Taylor Swift is a part of the bloodline?
Oh my god! All right, let's move on from T Swift.
She was standing there in the crowd.
She was standing there,
finger up.
We don't want.
She was acknowledging the tribal chief.
So that wraps up. Let's get into Dynamite. Not too much to talk about, but there were some big things that happened. Dynamite opened up with Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page. This is the third encounter with them.
Yep.
Match went about like half an hour. It went to a time limit draw. Hangman gets on the mic afterwards and says that the stipulation was Swerve had to win in order to face Samoa Joe at Revolution, which he did not. But then Tony Schiavone gets told from backstage that at Revolution, it's going to be Samoa Joe versus Swerve versus Hangman in a triple threat for the AEW World Title. I actually like that idea. I mean, is it too early to take the belt off of Joe? I don't Swerve to be champ.
I don't think so.
Pull the trigger.
Yeah, I don't think it's too early.
Pull the trigger on Swerve.
Also, did they do it's almost like they did like a double turn in this match too at the end, because Swerve was like, I want 5 more minutes, as like a babyface would do. And then Hangman was like, nope, you're supposed to beat me.
He might as well be a babyface without acting like it. I mean,
I know.
The way the fans react to him,
Yeah, especially during this match.
So then I also wanted to talk about John Moxley and Claudio defeated members from CMLL. CMLL has been all over the place lately. That wrestling, is it Mexican? It's a Mexican wrestling organization, CMLL. And they've been fighting with the Blackpool Combat Club on like every single show in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is leading to Forbidden Door, because I feel like it's too far away. If they're just like playing the seeds, but it's like every show that's what is involved.
Yeah, I don't really know where they're going either, but I don't know. I think it's kind of cool to see something different with CMLL.
It's cool. It's
the thing that I think really hurts them is because it's totally different in like Mexico with the tag team, where it's like the person who's in the ring is the legal man. You can just roll out. You don't have to tag. And so they don't really there was a moment in this match, I think, where they're supposed to tag and they didn't. And the ref kind of just let it go because they're not used to doing that.
Actually physically tagging.
Yeah, because you can just roll out the ring. Yeah, you can roll the ring over there, and then whoever jumps in is the legal person.
We've talked about it.
We've talked
about it in the past. I think Andy's with me on this. It doesn't really. I mean, it's not like it's like that big of a deal. But I'm personally a fan of you have to be holding the rope the way FTR does it in order to be tagged. That's the legitimate way that you're always supposed to do tag team wrestling.
I'd say I'm in between, as long as it's clear who the legal man is. Once it becomes chaotic and I don't remember who the legal man is or can't tell, that's when I don't like it.
It's not that the match isn't good. That's the thing that people misunderstand. People are like, they worked their ass off. I'm like, it has nothing to do with the fact that they didn't try hard. It's just I can't tell what's going on because it's too confusing. It's too many people.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. It's not me hating on the effort.
Yeah, no, it's. I lose. I can't follow it. I tried to, and then something happens, and there's too many moving parts, and then I'm looking over here when what's actually is legal is going over here, and then.
Yeah, I think they just need to do a better job of explaining it. Sometimes, like, if they're not going to do that, like the actual physical tag, they just have to explain it, and then I think everyone will be okay with it. But that's the only part that I saw during this match. Is like they just have to get used to that.
Well, that's cool.
Like the Lucha Bros. Yeah, Lucha Bros had to get used to it.
The main event of the show, though, was Sting and Darby Allin facing Big Bill and Ricky Starks for the AEW Tag Team Championships, and they won. Sting's final title, and first title, they said, in, years? I mean, did he have any titles in TNA?
It was like, they said 2013, wasn't it? Or something like that?
In 10 years? 11?
I think so.
Oh, it's been a minute. But
long time, yeah.
I know this is like totally off topic, but I'm watching it on mute. I don't know what they're saying, but I'm watching Cody and
I am too.
Seth go back and forth, and I'm looking at Cody and like, I remember when he got that tattoo, everybody was like, "This is like the worst thing that he could have ever done." And I'm a very tattooed man. If I hold my arms up, you could see. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, I don't know. I think it's like the best thing he could have done. Like, I don't think it hurt him at all. Like, kids still love him. The branding, like, people are like into it. Like, I can't.
Yeah, I don't think it hurt him at all either.
I don't think it hurt. I think if anything, it helped. Weirdly.
I will say I used to like notice it a lot and like couldn't help but to look at it. Now, majority of the time, I don't like. I wouldn't even have looked at it until you said something.
Well, just like I'm your brother.
Now it's just like a part
I'm your brother, right? You probably used to notice my tattoos all the time. Now when we hang out, you probably it's like they're not even there. You know what I mean? Like it's just like
I don't think about it. Even though he has a big ass fucking one on his neck, but yeah, I don't even really think about it anymore. So the show went off the air with them celebrating as tag champs, and I guess you had to find it online or see a clip somewhere. But
wasn't it? It was on TV, no?
The beatdown?
Yeah, I watched it back on mine, and I thought it was on TV.
Then I guess I don't have the extended time for the recording because mine. I didn't watch live, so like maybe if you were watching live, it would just roll into it.
Mine just recorded the rest of it. I don't know. I guess it's I don't know what it did, but yeah.
Well, the Bucks, Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, EVPs came out with a bat and would attack Darby and Sting, getting Darby's blood on their all-white suits. Why are you wearing all-white suits?
It's
for that purpose.
No, that's exactly why they wore all-white suits. It's the effect. Cardona. I know, but Matt Cardona said that when he did his death match with Nick Gage, he's like, I purposely wore all white because I knew that it was going to look fucking crazy. Like if I started bleeding.
Yeah.
No, there's that Sebastian joke when he goes, "Why you got white carpet?" We're talking about making people take off their shoes because they have white carpet.
Why you got white carpet?
So the Young Bucks attacked afterwards, and I think it was on Rampage. They showed like an interview that took place afterwards, and basically saying that Sting and Darby made them do it, and why'd you make us do it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Didn't write anything down this week for Rampage. I didn't think there was anything that moved stories forward, but I do have some stuff for Collision, which I'm going to get into. I'm switching up the format this week. We'll end with the WrestleMania kickoff, which goes straight into SmackDown. So Collision, looks like FTR is going to start feuding with the Blackpool Combat Club. Blackpool Combat Club went in the ring kind of promo. And I guess basically saying they could take on anyone, I think was the gist of it, and FTR would end up coming out. Eddie Kingston challenges Bryan Danielson at Revolution. Weird stipulation, but Eddie said if he wins, Brian has to shake his hand. And that's because Brian Danielson didn't want to shake his hand last time, and that he doesn't respect Eddie, so he knows it'll piss Brian off if he wins. So far at Revolution, we have Deonna Purrazzo versus Toni Storm. We have Samoa Joe, Hangman, and Swerve. We have Sting and Darby defending their championships, I assume, against the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
We have Eddie Kingston versus Daniel Bryan, or Brian Danielson, I mean. And then something's got to happen with Adam Copeland.
He had didn't he have a segment in Collision?
We'll find out if he's going to face Christian next week. So, yeah. I'm sure we're getting this also. Hulk and Brian Cage have been feuding. They bled with one another this week. Maybe Brian Cage wants that FTW championship again. If you remember, he was the first in AEW.
I don't really like how they put Hook from like the main event of Samoa Joe to Brian Cage.
Who Buddha? Took it from Canyon. Adam Copeland had a segment though.
Everyone.
What does he call himself? The Wolverine?
Ugh. Brian Cage just don't.
Isn't that what fucking Chris Benoit called himself?
He called himself the Rabid Wolverine.
Yeah.
In the
okay.
In the Crippler.
Yeah, the Crippler. Which
So
now those names don't sound great.
Adam Copeland still wants Christian.
I hit you with my hands and cripple you. Yes, that's what he used to do on ECW. Paul Heyman would make Chris Benoit apparently just rub his hands. He'd say, "Yeah, and I'm from Canada, and I'm gonna put you in the cross face and cripple you."
Terrible. Anyway, Adam Copeland had a segment. He still wants Christian Cage. Daniel Garcia would come out. Garcia feels like he is next since he pumped Christian the week before.
I don't want to come off too strong. I just want you to.
What the fuck is that?
Somebody edited that Drake song over Daniel Garcia, dude. It is so fucking. I was dying. It's like that. It's like I don't want to come off too strong, and it's just like over top of him like doing this, dude. It's
just him dancing.
It's perfect. It perfectly goes through to it. Link in bio.
Next week, though. Next week it was made official. Adam Copeland versus Daniel Garcia faces Christian for the TNT title. Again, I assume it's going to be a Revolution. And the main event was Orange Cassidy defeating and retaining his championship against Tomohiro Ishii. That's AEW this week, guys. Ishii! Let's get into what I really wanted to get into, which is the WrestleMania kickoff event. WrestleMania kickoff event in Vegas. Opened with. Did it open with Triple H?
Well, the kickoff panel. I don't know how much more we can play that song on YouTube, though.
Yeah, dude, don't get us.
We don't want to get taken off of YouTube, but dude, I'm not gonna lie, that song.
Yeah.
losing views on TikTok, man.
No, dude, listen. Drake didn't hide the world from his meat. He hid his meat from the world. Poppy. All right.
Champagne Poppy. So the WrestleMania kickoff event, we had the panel first, which was Matt McAfee, Michael Cole, CM Punk, and who else was on there? There was a fourth.
Big E.
Big E, yes. He said his neck is doing well.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm here so Punk won't get fined.
He did say that. Punk would end up saying they were talking about the We Want Cody movement and The Rock stealing a spot. He said, "Where are you guys in 2013?"
But dude,
Yeah.
I love when Big E was like, "And I'm here to make sure that you don't get fired because no offense, but you got a reputation." Shit. Punk was like, yeah.
It's like, yeah, fair enough.
But the first official guest was Bianca Belair, who still doesn't know what she's doing for Mania. If you ask Punk, it should have been the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, Bayley, which I can't disagree with. Bayley was not at the kickoff event.
Dude, Punk's a real homie.
yeah.
That's a real homie move for him to go on Instagram Live and be like, by the way, I don't know why we didn't
forget that Bayley's your winner.
Yeah, like I don't know why we didn't talk about
Yeah.
this, but don't forget Bayley's the winner.
Yeah.
After Bianca, we had Rhea Ripley come out, and then Becky Lynch would come out during her segment. I told Tim, why would you have her come out if this is not where you're going with WrestleMania?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, it's the match. It's the match. It's the match I want to see. It's the match that I would book.
Match.
After that, we had Seth Rollins come out, who called out Cody. And instead of Cody responding, it was Roman. Roman would come out. I'll say, during this entire segment, there's more people that are going to come out, but during this entire segment, anyone else feel that fucking Roman just put down Seth like he was a fucking bitch the entire time, just talking to him, like talking down to him?
Seth got buried this entire segment.
Dude, it was rough.
Yeah. Like, he didn't have anything going for him in this.
I know Tim probably knows it too. You noticed Roman burying Seth during this entire segment, start to finish?
It was weird.
He waved him around. He was like, "Get back!" He's like, "Yeah, dude."
Yeah, called him number 2 and all this.
Making his championship look bad. You're making him look
Roman
bad.
is just like he's in God mode, like he said. You just can't fuck with that. Although we'll talk about it. Roman has never looked more or less of a star than when he was standing next to The Rock. Let me say that.
Speaking of The Rock, so Roman said that he chooses for...
There's levels of this, baby.
He chooses for WrestleMania The Rock. And so The Rock's music hit. Mixed reactions from the audience. The Rock says a couple things. I'm trying to remember them all, but he said... is The Rock versus Roman going to be the biggest WrestleMania event of all time? Was one of them. He said things along that line, and there was Rocky Sucks chants, there was boos, there was smelling going on.
Smelling.
And
I was on top of the ropes and I was smelling.
Rock was on Pat McAfee's show earlier that day. And before he went on to talk about the Cody crybabies and all that, he said that they did expect this reaction with things. But yeah, he did mention the Cody crybabies on stage during the kickoff event, and in the middle of his you could call it a promo, you hear Cody on the mic from backstage being all like, hold on. He comes out and he says, "This is bullshit."
He said,
"What's so funny, Tim?"
This is bullshit.
Bullshit. So Cody would basically say, you have the champion, but it's not his choice to make; it's Cody's choice to make. Cody chooses Roman. Roman said that it's too late now. He said, go over there with the guy in the green suit talking about Seth Rollins.
Seth was getting disrespected.
Seth,
So
this entire thing after The Rock came out, like, was just over there in the corner.
yeah, that's why like the whole time I was watching, I was like, what is the point of Seth even being out here?
I still don't know where. Sorry, I was looking at Jordan Grace in WWE. That's weird. That's not Jordan Grace. Never mind. That's somebody else.
That's Zoe Stark.
My bad. I saw a muscular woman, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's who that is." But I just don't know where Seth fits into all this. You know, like I get
he doesn't fit into it. You know, like he fits into like the Elimination Chamber part of it, but that's it. I don't know why he needed to be there,
guys.
Punk's gonna be back by Mania. Punk's gonna be back by Mania.
Before Cody came out, I should say, The Rock brought up, he said, whether you like it or not, you will respect it. And then he put out the family tree for him and Roman, which you can find everywhere online. Some fans are trying to figure out where people land, like I have. And so they showed the true, I guess you could say it was the bloodline in physical form. On the screen, came out.
They even put. I was looking at the names. They even put like Jacob Fatu up there, who's like an indie guy, and like some. You know, they put like
so his wife Naomi Trinity Fatu.
Yeah.
So Cody comes out, says it's bullshit. He says he chooses Roman Reigns, and there's a little back and forth. Cody, I wish I knew it word for word, but Cody said, how can any of you be ahead of the table when for the past 2 years none of you have done the cooking?
Mm-hmm. Let him cook. Let my boy Cody cook. He just roasted your asses.
And then what did Roman say that Dusty would be embarrassed of Cody right now? And then Cody brings up the High Chief and Roman's grandpa and says that they would be ashamed. And then The Rock gets real serious and says, talk about his grandpa. You're talking about my family. You're talking about the High Chief. Basically, you're talking about my family. He ends up slapping Cody Rhodes. Everyone can see each other's face, Roman, Cody, The Rock, and even Seth Rollins. So this is
where I'm like, why is Seth in on this? Why is he defending Cody?
So what I like about this is that for once, even if I'm wrong, I usually have a prediction where things are going to go, and this time I don't. I feel like I'm treading water. So let's throw out some options. Could you get Roman and Rock teaming up to face Seth and Cody at, say, Elimination Chamber, or do you do something like that at night one at Mania? Do you think this match even happens, a tag match somewhere?
Well, they did say that they're not going to do Elimination Chamber because they're not booked for it, and I don't think The Rock can even make it, but they talked about night one for WrestleMania, and then the Cody and Roman match.
Should obviously be the main event of night one. But then if that happens at Mania, Seth still needs to defend his title at Mania.
Yeah, he just doesn't get that main event spot then, which I don't like about it.
He gets a main event spot. It's just not a singles match.
You know what they say?
Well, yeah.
That's karma.
What do they say?
That's karma. And I don't know if you know who. I don't know if you know who Karma is, but he's a guy on the Chiefs.
She's a bitch.
He's a guy on the Chiefs.
Oh my god!
And he's coming.
All right.
Oh, so speaking of that, Tim, Andy and I were talking about before we started recording. Like if you watch Super Bowl, Nickelodeon also had a broadcast for it, and it was SpongeBob and Patrick commentating the Super Bowl. And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if they had like alternate broadcast for WrestleMania, and it was like SpongeBob and Patrick commentating WrestleMania?
Well, it's weird on Disney.
He's like, no,
You actually sounded exactly like him, which is it's crazy. But they also do a on Disney Plus. They do a version of football where it's in Andy's room and it's Toy Story. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude, I mean, dude, I kind of like this shit, dude. If you had told me this shit when I was a kid, like, dude, they're gonna do like the Super Bowl, but it's gonna be Toy Story, I'd be like, what? What are you talking about?
Like, I would watch that WrestleMania, that broadcast over the normal one if they had that option.
SpongeBob commentating.
They had like effects on the screen. Yeah,
dude, that's crazy.
So, to wrap up the kickoff event, where do you think they go with all this? Does Rock even get a singles match anymore?
I don't think he gets a singles match anymore, at least. Because I think
threat?
That was the plan.
Now they're showing that it's Roman versus Cody.
Let me ask you guys this. Did they do Rock and Roman because they felt like this is what everybody wanted, and then all of a sudden it got too out of hand with a negative backlash, and they were like, "Oh shit, never mind, let's go back to the other plan"? Or do you think
Cody said they trust him?
Or do you think this was the plan all along?
This was definitely not the plan all along.
I don't think so either. I think that they did the whole like, I'm gonna challenge you, but not at WrestleMania, and then he. I didn't know if you guys were to catch that or not. And then he didn't, and then people freaked out, and then all of a sudden it's back on. So it feels like they were like, "Oh boy, we made a mistake here." That even The Rock was like,
well, Tim said last week.
I guess you're right.
Like Tim said last week, if the purpose at all was to take eyes off of the Vince McMahon stuff,
it worked.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah,
it's still working.
Well, wasn't it like part from the intro? By the way, speaking of, Brock has been removed from the WWE intro of the shows.
Yeah, replaced with the LA Knight.
He will be gone very now.
She sent a video of her urinating. And I was up here in Canada. All right, sorry.
I called her a bitch.
I called her a stupid bitch. All right,
but wasn't that part of the Rock's deal?
I called her a stupid bitch.
God, Brock. Wasn't that part
Brock
of what? Sorry,
of the Rock's deal when he signed for the board is like to have some WrestleMania match.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. Brock doesn't always take showers, but when he does, they're golden.
They're golden. Well, SmackDown was the next night, and there was a little bit of funness. Triple H would open up the show, and let's just say he put The Rock in his place. He said there's people back there that need to know the rules. It was one of his quotes. What else did he say? Well, it was announced during this entire segment. There was a lot going on. Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce were with him in the ring as well. And it was announced that the Elimination Chamber qualifiers would be starting for the men's, that is. And before I announce that, I did want to say quotes from it. He said, maybe some people don't know their role. He said, I don't really care where you sit. The answers come from one place and one place only, and you are looking at it. And then he said, it doesn't matter if you don't like that decision. Drew McIntyre would come out, though, and referred to himself, timid like this. He referred to himself, he's able to thank the fans for buying the CM Punk shirts, and he called himself DM Hunk. Drew McIntyre Hunk. I'm shaking his head.
I want you to know, I'm not a religious man, but I prayed for this, and it happened.
So he's still keeping these issues with Punk on the forefront. Does Punk come back to face Drew? Really?
In a street fight. Because it's less physical than doing a regular match. You could do a hardcore match.
which is crazy to think. As a kid, I would never think that, but
Right.
Apparently, somehow it is.
I don't know.
That's
He
the
did
reason
have
why.
surgery. Like they said, he had surgery.
The
yeah, I
reason
think Stone
why,
Cold and KO.
but the reason why Shawn Michaels came back and did the non-sanctioned with Triple H is because he thought it would be easier on his body than doing a regular match, which is crazy.
Did you know he had a match in his own company before?
I did watch. I watched the video the other day. It was weird. I had never seen
Saw
that.
that clip? Yeah, it was weird. So it technically wasn't his first wrestling match before.
That was like some alternate timeline shit.
Yeah. So yeah, Drew McIntyre mentioned something about best for business, which kind of refers back to what were they called? The Authority. So a little callback to that. So, like you said, Elimination Chamber qualifiers were announced for the men's. 6 matches, 12 competitors to determine the final 6. So, the competitors are Randy Orton, Bronson Reed, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, AJ Styles, The Miz, Bobby Lashley, Ivar, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Dominic Mysterio, and LA Knight. So, to kick that off, we had our first elimination qualifier. And it was Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles. And winner. And moving on to Elimination Chamber is Drew McIntyre because your boy LA Knight, yeah, interfered. He was on the commentary. I'm still saying it. We said it a while ago. AJ Styles, LA Knight, WrestleMania. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
I feel bad that LA Knight, though, with The Rock and Roman and Punk and Cody. I mean, this dude was on fire. I knew this was a mistake. They should not have had him lose to Roman in Saudi Arabia. I said then, you're pulling the trigger too early. It's not ready yet.
You did say it.
You took the lasagna out of the oven when it wasn't all the way cooked, and it tasted a little bit good, but it could have been way better. I'm just saying.
Do you think he bounces the wall back if he defeats AJ at WrestleMania?
I guess, but it's never going to be how it was. You had something. You had something there.
What do you think?
No, the Prince wanted it. The Prince said, I want Roman versus LA Knight. And they were like, all right, we'll give it to you. Even though this should be at WrestleMania in 2 years.
And he's like another $50 million.
And they're like, all right, actually,
AJ's opened up
whatever you want. Whatever you guys want.
AJ, the fans are going to be so sick of me saying AJ trying to talk. AJ has opened up WrestleMania a couple of times. Do you think this match is strong enough to open up WrestleMania?
I think AJ just needs to not open up WrestleMania and have a match somewhere later on the card. My poor dude. The disrespect.
I forgot this also. Speaking of AJ, the commentators suddenly announced that AJ is no longer with the OC. So the OC is now just Gallows and Anderson and Meechin. Poor Gallows and Anderson came back for fucking nothing.
Yeah, those two guys, I don't know what. They're just getting paid being in catering, is what it is.
Well, speaking of Meechin, we have women's elimination qualifier. Bianca Belair defeated Meechin. So Bianca joined Becky Lynch in the Elimination Chamber match coming up on, what is it, the 24th? I believe.
Yes.
Dan Baker was seen backstage with Triple H, and then Paul Heyman walks up to talk to Triple H, mainly about the stuff that took place at the press conference. There was a segment with Bailey to address what happened the week before with the fallout of Damage Control. Dakota Kai would come out, who wasn't there last week, and Bailey didn't believe that, Dakota and Bailey never had anything to do with it. The rest of Damage Control comes out, and Dakota Kai would end up grabbing a chair and helps to fend off the rest of them. So it looks like, for now, Dakota is on Bailey's side.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Dakota's really close to coming back. I could totally see Bailey teaming out with Dakota. Bailey teaming out with Dakota against the Kabuki Warriors in Australia, where Dakota is
That's a good point. They have to make that match this week or next week then.
Look it. It'll probably be this week. The
Xbox.
story's already written.
Two
The
tears
story's
in a
already written. You don't need it.
smoke turkey.
Tim had some heat with this next match. It was a number one contenders tag team match.
It was my hair heat.
For Elimination Chamber. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate would defeat DIY, but Tim has some hair heat with Pete Dunne.
All right, look, I'm a long hair man. I love long hair. Andy knows this. He
And
can
you love
vouch.
you some Pete Dunne.
And I love me some Pete Dunne. There is such a thing as too long hair. It's too long. You need like a solid 4 inches off, and then you'll be good. It's just too long right now. You look insane. Other than that, looking great.
You look insane.
I was watching the new one of the episodes of Bianca and Montez's show.
Andy remembers this. I was probably like 10 years old. I saw Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible 2. He was riding that motorcycle. He had that long hair. And I was like, this is me now. This is who I've become. But
This is me. Not to mention Shawn Michaels as well.
and Shawn Michaels in the Elimination Chamber, which I loved. I thought when I was a kid,
no,
I
that's
thought
a haircut.
I know, but I thought the Dutch boy haircut was sick when I was a kid. I don't know why.
You know why he never did it again? Because it was terrible.
Because it was terrible. But when I was 12, I was like, dude, this hair, it was like his hair is sick. But too long.
Speaking of, man,
Gotta take it down.
if you guys are following any of us on social media, you'll see we posted the video package for that Elimination Chamber recently.
David Sahadi.
Best video package of all time.
David Sahadi is the king. He made that video package. He made the My Way video package for Stone Cold. I mean, he's any video package you think of when you're a
They
kid
don't
that
get them
you're.
like they used to, man.
You know why?
Yeah.
You know why? Because he's not making them.
Yeah, I could cry.
They're so good. They were
That's
so
like my
good.
childhood.
It made the video packages before the pay per view sometimes were better
Get your
than
hair, please.
the actual pay per view.
Yeah, those were the best.
Like I remember, like Rock and Brock at SummerSlam was like one
I
of the
remember.
first
Yeah,
ones
I remember.
was into.
I remember a bunch. I don't know why these stand out, but I remember a bunch of Triple H and Kevin Nash ones, like that cold. I don't love how you love. Please don't leave me.
What was the one? Remember, it was Shawn Michaels and Triple H again, but this was like the last time they really feuded, and they tackled. He got tackled on the car.
Is it the? Oh no, it's Puddle of Mud.
The thing with Brad. Yeah.
And then there's one that's
And it's
like
also
the end is near. They used to do those. Ah, man, I missed that.
The theme song from 02 to 04 is
yeah.
peak.
Like when they used to play it before the matches too, like on the pay-per-views, it would be like, yeah. It would also help you like pace it out then, because you would watch this video to get ready for the next match. It wouldn't just like start.
Andy, Brock and Undertaker in the Biker Jane. Brock and Undertaker in the Biker Jane match. Today is the Day by God, what was that band called? Dope. Yeah. Today is the day.
That was No Mercy.
Yeah. I
Limp Bizkit Build. Dude, Saliva had to have had stock in WWE at that time.
So it's actually funny that you said that. So they kind of actually did. They were set up to record their albums in the WWE recording studio, and in return, they would make some music for WWE to use. Batista songs, some pay-per-view themes.
Batista's entrance was one of the best.
The guns.
Yeah. And it'd be funny when it like didn't happen right away, so like he would like hit it and then it would go off.
Logan Paul was backstage. I know we got off track, guys. I got Steelers back. Logan Paul was backstage with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. It seemed like last week, plans always change, but it seemed like last week they were going to have KO face Logan Paul again. But plans change all the time. And based off the things that Logan Paul does in his matches and how they've been booking him, I can see him being in the Elimination Chamber. Obviously not winning. Maybe feuding with someone in there that leads to a match at Mania. And then the main event was Randy Orton defeating Sami Zayn in the Elimination Chamber qualifier. Afterwards, Drew McIntyre, who had won his match earlier in the night, came down right away, did a stare down. Drew said, "We've done this a couple of times. We're going to do it again." Randy said basically he's looking forward to it, and the show would go off the air. SmackDown was packed this week. Biggest thing this week was the main kickoff event. On the way to WrestleMania, we had less than 2 months, guys, left to go for Mania to be there.
Almost there.
Hair update. I don't think it's going to be long enough for the wrestler man bun by the time we get there. It's very sad. I said this a few weeks ago. I don't know, 2 months? I think I could be able to get it up. It's going to be like Shawn Michaels. It's going to be the Shawn Michaels in the Elimination Chamber, though.
And he's just going to be shirtless with brown tights.
Yeah.
And a Dutch boy haircut and a beer belly hanging out.
But that does it, guys. I apologize for last week in my audio. I hope I sounded better this week. Tim, do you have a classic show of the week?
The classic show of the week is WrestleMania 9. And the reason why I chose this one is because it's a little bit on brand with everybody feeling like, oh, The Rock came in and took Cody's spot. And even though it's kind of been resolved now, it still makes sense for what we're talking about.
Is this the Hogan Bret Hart?
Yes, it is. So, opening match takes place from Las Vegas, Nevada, live from Caesar's Palace. Tito Santana against Papa Shango. Second match for the Intercontinental Championship, Shawn Michaels against Tatanka. The Steiners, Rick and Scott against the Head Shrinkers, Samu and Fatu, speaking of the bloodline. It's crazy how far, some of these names carry over years and years. Singles match, Crush versus Doink the Clown. Singles match, Bob Backlund versus Razor Ramon. Tag team match, Money Inc. against the Mega Maniacs, Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake with Jimmy Hart. Match 7 is Lex Luger against Mr. Perfect. Then you got the Undertaker versus a very awkward wrestler named Giant Gonzalez, Ric Flair. I kill you. All right. Have I ever told you guys that story? They kept trying to get that Giant Gonzalez guy to cut a promo on Ric Flair, and then he was like not doing it good. And they're like,
"Oh yeah,"
they're like, "Do it better." They're like, you're really mad at him. You really want to you want to hurt him. So then randomly during one of the takes, he just goes, "Ric Flair, I kill you." Okay, so Yokozuna against Bret Hart, which he beats
Yokozuna
beats Bret Hart, and then Hulk Hogan, who is the Rock. So I'm thinking of Bret being Cody in this situation. So Yokozuna beats Bret Hart, and then Hulk Hogan, who I'm thinking of as the Rock in this situation, comes out and then beats Yokozuna for the title. So very weird ending.
So who's the champ going in? Let me ask you, who's the champ going in?
The champ going in, I believe, is Bret.
So let me tell you this. So during the Yokozuna documentary I watched, they show all these family members talking about watching this match at the time when they were young, and so Yoko wins, and they're like, so happy. This is what people were in the know. And then when what you're talking about happens, Yoko's family just gets fucking crushed.
Well, you also have to remember, a little bit side note here for you. For those that don't know, Yokozuna is not Japanese, and he's actually part of the Rock's family. He's in the bloodline, so he's in that family tree. So that's, it's, I don't know why.
Rikishi's side.
Yeah, he just played a Japanese character. I think he's Rikishi's older brother.
That makes sense.
Hogan
decides to come back in, or decides to come out, and he takes on Yoko and beats him for the title. And so that's what Tim was getting at with the Cody comparison.
Well, yeah, that wraps it up. We're on the road to WrestleMania. We got about a little less than 2 months. Join us next week for episode 119 while I play us out here.